that China has never been held accountable. We see Rand Paul come out with a whistleblower. We found out that Fauci was, and it's been confirmed, his advisor, by the way, has been indicted over these emails. He covered up the illegal experiments that he was doing in China. China is responsible for the modern Chernobyl on a massive global scale, a global Chernobyl. And yet no one holds the CCP accountable for this. Katie Zachariah, this is something that you out in California experienced more than almost any other state in the nation. Why is it that we seem to not want to hold China accountable for COVID?
It is actually mind-baffling, and it's nice to see right now Rand Paul, Ron Johnson, Senator Mike Lee, a lot of these senators are bringing this back to the surface. Why? We have to get to the bottom of COVID-19, not just because of the pandemic, Jack, but we lost the 2020 election. We lost the election, or it was stolen from us, is the better words to use, because of COVID-19. And we all know what happened. We saw the mail-in ballot search. We saw the terror. We saw the basement campaign that Joe Biden won, quote. And we also saw President Trump lose the ability to fight the war for us against China for 4 years. And I think this really gets to the heart of it. This was not just an accident. This was intentional. China gained massive nuclear capabilities in terms of nuclear power, built nuclear power plants, absolutely went crazy on their navy yards, building naval ships and warships. And in this whole period of time, while we sat under Joe Biden and he did nothing except sunbathe on the beaches of Delaware, and President Trump had to fight off the weaponized lawfare system for 4 years and then retake the White House thanks to amazing patriots like yourself and Turning Point and the rest of the people who came out against this. But Jack, if you get to the bottom of COVID, you also get to the bottom of the stolen 2020 election.
No, that's exactly right. And President Trump only, and the entire country had to go through that because of China. You can draw a line, a direct line all the way back from that night in 2020, directly back to where the Wuhan lab, not the wet market, no, the Wuhan lab and the illegal gain of function experiments that we now know that Dr. Fauci signed off on, Peter Daszak signed off on, this EcoHealth Alliance nonsense. He knew, and he was covering up what he did, but he was working hand in glove with the Chinese Communist Party because those experiments are illegal in the United States. He knew what he did. The Chinese knew what was going on. Now, maybe they lied to him about the leak. We don't know exactly on that, but it still strikes me that we just haven't gotten the level of information, the level of investigation actually into what happened there and any real accountability for the CCP.
And I read The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And that book changed my life. And everyone should read that book. And it talks about COVID. It talks about Anthony Fauci. It talks about the corrupt World Health Organization, which we have rightfully pulled out of. And this is where I think the president stands to gain momentum on exposure, accountability, not just redemptive, as I said before, for the lie and the false narrative that COVID destroyed lives. COVID literally took lives because of the lies that were spread, but it also spread the lie about our election, Jack. And just to exactly to your point, we have to reclaim this narrative for the sake of history, for the sake of the legacy of President Trump, but also on accountability. And Dr. Anthony Fauci is the chief person who should be held responsible. And Senator Rand Paul has made it his career mission to make sure this guy is held accountable. I'm just not sure why we're not seeing more of this, especially as we're looking into Fulton County election rigging systems and across the country. President Trump and even Chief of Staff Susie Wiles said the other day at a conference that we will start finding out that President Trump won a lot of these swing districts that in 2020 that we were all aware of that were stolen from us.